Yeah. The last stream of 2022. What a year. And for the last time in this year, I'm on my way. Last time flying to the tower in this our year of 2022. What a year. We're gonna look back, taking a trip down memory lane, bro. It's gonna be wild. There's probably a lot of stuff you didn't realize was all packed into this year. There's a lot of fun movies and shows that we want to talk about. There's crazy news, crazy entertainment news. And so I have a big list of stuff that I want to go over and sort of remember together. And then maybe there's some stuff that you guys will think of that I hadn't thought of, that I missed. So we'll go over all of it. It should be a really fun time just hanging out, talking about 2022. I'm pulling into the tower. I'll see you in a second. Oh, yeah. I think it's going to be a good one. Chet, have you already initiated the gambling? Oh, shit. Sick. Okay, cool. Cool. We already got gambling going on. Nice. Yeah. Should be a good one today, ladies and gentlemen. And I just want to say thank you, guys. Thank you, not only for being here for this stream, or if you're watching on the replay, I really appreciate it, but just being here in general throughout 2022. Weird year, some ups, some downs, interesting things going on in my personal life, interesting things going on as a content creator, interesting things going on in the world of entertainment. So it's been really fun. I've had a great time with you guys this year. We made some memories for sure. So I just want to say I really appreciate you. I appreciate all the support and just the memories, man. It's truly a pleasure to do what I do and to sort of go through all of these fun things as a community and as somewhat of a community leader, and being able to experience and discuss these different things with you. We've had just incredible times this year, and then also on Nerd Theory 2, a great year as well. So just a great year of content, and probably I would say just a weird year in general. Let's sort of start with this. You know what I'm curious about is I'm curious as to how would you guys rate 2022 out of 10? How would you rate it? And also, Parker Gonzo, welcome to the Nerd Vengers. You are a Nerd Venger now. The Showroom Sabers, you are a Nerd Venger now as well. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How would you guys rate the year? You know, because I think some people had like an okay year. I think a lot of people had like a bad year. I mean, as far as the markets were concerned, it was ridiculous. 15 out of 5 compared to 2021. 2 out of 10 to some people. 2 out of 10, 6 out of 10. Yeah, kind of an interesting year just in general, right? I don't know. I've been thinking a lot. You know, it's kind of a slow week. By the way, we do have some dope videos coming out for you guys over the weekend. Here, I should say that. Let's do some show notes. Get this out of the way, okay? I will do a Prime stream today at 1 p.m. If you're a Prime member, come on by. I think it's going to be a really good one. We'll sort of recap the year as far as from a business perspective. I'll show you guys some of the new formats for videos that I've been working on, so that moving into next year, we're going to try some new kinds of videos, which I'm excited about. Oh, Leon, welcome to the Nerd Vengers, man. Welcome. You are a Nerd Venger now, man. Appreciate it. And then we're going to do some cool videos over the weekend. The Ahsoka leaks are insane. New stuff about Thrawn. Crazy. So I need to do a big video about the Ahsoka leaks. It's going to be super hyped up. I'm so damn excited. I'm trying not to get too hyped up for Ahsoka, but I am, and it's my last hope. And if it doesn't be the fucking amazing, best thing ever, I don't know what I'm going to do. My brain's going to melt out of my nose. So look forward to that. Also have an incredible Kang video. Been working on the script for a long time. actually talking to Trinity a little bit behind the scenes because he has some good thoughts on the time travel stuff. And I'm reading Avengers Forever right now. Oh, Isaac, hey, thanks so much, man. I really appreciate it. Isaac, you are a Nerdvenger now, man. And I know it's like really early in the morning for you too, so you can go to sleep too if you want. I saw that in the chat earlier. Big video about Kang coming. I need to read a little further into Avengers Forever. There's a concept in there that allows Kang to touch and change all time at once. And I think it could be similar to the heart of the universe. And there's just some really, really crazy stuff going on with that Kang video. But that probably won't drop until Monday. But I and Fernie are going to work on it over the weekend. Get a really, really high quality video out for you guys on Monday. So I do apologize about the lack of videos this week. I'll be honest, I'm just kind of chilling. You know what I mean? I've been just kind of chilling. Tuesday was a lot of fun. But even beyond Tuesday, like, I've just been taking more family time, just kind of enjoying myself and relaxing this week and getting ready for the new year. So I apologize about the lack of vids, but we will get you some dope ones, okay? For sure. And I appreciate all the love and all the support. We will get into all the super chats a little bit later on as well, okay? So getting back to 2022, kind of a weird one, man, right? Like, when I think back to 2022, just going over it, and as I was doing my notes this morning, and I have this, like, really kind of interesting, like, flow chart of things that happened, which we're going to get into. It's a really weird one. It's hard to quantify 2022. It's hard to think of it as, like, an awesome year. I think it's obviously better than 2020. I would say it's probably a little bit better than 2021 as well. But it still feels like we're not quite there. We're not quite past all of the ickiness and stuff that happened in 2019 and 2020. There's still movies that have their production affected by, the pandy. There's still, the economy is really, really struggling, suffering. Political discourse seems to have still been very, very annoying and really fucking prevalent in almost everything that we talk about. So I think that 2022 is this year that you start to see some changes and you start to see maybe how things could get better, but we're still in sort of the shadow of, everything horrible that's happened over the past couple of years. For me personally, though, I will say I found 2022 to be a really good year and also end in a really strong way. I mean, obviously, like, having Liam is so crazy, and, just having the memories of, like, last Christmas and the end of last year, sort of just finding out that this little dude was on the way, to, like, now where he's, like, just there and doing cool things all the time. It's really interesting. On top of that, from a business perspective, I would say that 2022 was sort of an average year in business, in some ways really good and in some ways not. But I also have some really cool opportunities, working with Creative Juice, working with Paradox Customs, having a YouTube manager finally. Like, there's just a lot of cool things too. So I'm kind of saying that 2022, maybe 8 out of 10 for me personally, just at a personal place. But the content for 2022, oh man, from a nerd's perspective, 2022, oh boy. Let's just say I think the best way to say it is not the best. And I think it's worth going back through and remembering through some of the highs and the low points and talking about what the F happened. And ultimately, I guess the question is, who had a worse year, Marvel, Star Wars, or DC? That's kind of the question. Now, believe it or not, everything seemed to happen in kind of like phases throughout 2022. So if you guys think back all the way to January, all the way to the beginning of the year, the thing that's really crazy is, do you remember that Book of Boba Fett technically came out in 2021? It was at the very end of 2021, and then for the first part of 2022, it was Book of Boba Fett. And we were all just kind of watching and checking out Book of Boba Fett. And that time period was really like Book of Boba Fett and Multiverse of Madness rumors. Okay, so that was kind of the early stages of the year. was like watching Book of Boba Fett, doing all the rumor stuff for Multiverse of Madness, like, you know, Tom Cruise Iron Man, you know, all that crazy shit, the Illuminati, all these different things. Like, oh my God, is Hugh Jackman Wolverine going to be in it, and all of that, right? So I remember being filled with like a lot of optimism, a lot of fun with regards to Multiverse of Madness. We were still in the afterglow of Spider-Man, right? I mean, like the Spider-Man No Way Home glow was still there. It was still like a really, really happy time. And I remember Book of Boba Fett. It was so interesting because I remember Theory really liked those first 3 episodes. And I was like, they're okay. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't like crying about it. I wasn't like trying to scream warning, you know, danger, Will Robinson. But generally speaking, I thought that the first couple episodes of Book of Boba Fett was like, okay, right? As Boba Fett kept going on, though, I was like, man, this is weird. And then you get to the Mando episodes, and it's absolutely incredible. Like, I remember we had a really big stream the Thursday after the Luke Skywalker episode. And I remember just being like, you know, this is huge. This has changed everything. And we had this really fun stream, and we were like really enthusiastic about what the young Luke Skywalker meant, how that could all work, getting more Luke, etc., etc. And it was really, really cool. And then the finale of Boba Fett was like this really jarring experience where you're like, oh shit, so Luke's not showing up. Oh, that's not happening either. And the finale was like serviceable, but then it ends up, I think, feeling kind of flat. And I remember at the time there was a lot of negativity towards, you know, the Vespa Squad, towards Boba kind of being like a beta and all these different things. And I think that this was a really weird moment because the Boba Fett show, which we were all really, really excited about. We were so excited about. Like, dude, I was so hyped up for it. I remember having conversations with it, and I remember Vito being like, dude, fuck Boba. And all these different people were like, Boba Fett, it doesn't even, you know, he's so overhyped, nobody even likes Boba. And I remember defending the show and the idea of the show and being like, dude, we've been waiting 40, 50 years for Boba to fucking get his nut and go crazy and be a total badass. You know? You guys remember that? Oh, man, I was so hyped up, bro. I was like, let's fucking go, bro. Like, ready for it. And to go from like that kind of a vibe and that kind of feeling into Boba, and Boba being what it was, that was the beginning. That was the beginning of the friction for me in Star Wars. And of course, it didn't get much better after that, okay? And then the next phase of stuff that happened, okay? So that was sort of the very start of the year. Pretty chill. Even though Boba was kind of whack, we still had fun with it, and it was like, whatever, right? I don't really remember being in like a bad mood about it or being like, dude, this fucking sucks, you know? It was cool. We then go into the Moon Knight era, the Miss Marvel era, Kenobi, and also David Zaslav coming in for Warner Brothers. Okay, so I remember Moon Knight, and I liked Moon Knight. I didn't think it was as good or as crazy as it could be. It starts off really cool, of course, and you've got the those first early episodes and the intrigue and the mystery behind like what's going on with his double life and the visions and the blackouts and all of these different things. And I remember like liking Moon Knight. And let me just double check something here, because that was early this year, correct? Right? That was earlier this year. Unless I'm mistaken, I believe that was right after Multiverse of Madness, yes? Yeah, so I remember like the Moon Knight era, and it was chill. It wasn't that great. Like the videos for Moon Knight didn't pop all that much. There wasn't enough in it to, I think, really like get people that excited about it. And then like kind of by the end of it, it just kind of fizzled for me, and I was like, okay, whatever, right? And then you get Kenobi. Now, Kenobi, of course, all kinds of hype, probably the most anticipated Star Wars show. And I had, even leading into Kenobi, I had more faith in that show than I did in Book of Boba Fett. But then the leaks happened, okay? And you'll recall, of course, I believe it was Making Star Wars, leaks out the stuff with Reva. And just like with the Rise of Skywalker leaks, I immediately was like, full stop. What the fuck? This is horrible. If they do this, it's going to destroy the fan base. And I said then that I thought it would be more egregious than what they did to Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi. Okay? And I started to get... Obviously, this was a weird situation to be in. To be so excited about Hayden coming back, Ewan and Hayden, Obi-Wan, all these different things, to go from a place where I was so fucking excited to then hearing the leaks, which, by the way, they changed the leaks, actually. They changed them, and the ending of the show ended up not being as bad as what it was originally in the leaks, and I still feel like Reva was like this total, just, not necessarily the worst character ever, but a horrible idea to put that type of a character into this type of a story where people just want Obi-Wan and Vader. But then the show actually came out, and I couldn't believe that it was also just a bad show. Like, I thought, okay, it's going to be this competently handled show. You know, they're going to be so excited for it. And they're going to put all this effort into it. It's going to be awesome. Deborah Chow. We were so high on Deborah Chow. At least I was personally. I was like, Deborah, you know, like, let's go. She's fucking incredible. Her Mando episodes are still just top notch. Some of the best they've ever done. Absolutely incredible, right? And so we're like thinking it's going to be this really great show that just maybe has a whack ass ending that was going to ruin Star Wars forever. So it ended up being a show that was so laughably incompetent that I actually think, for as hard as I went on Kenobi during it, I probably didn't go hard enough. Kenobi should have been the warning. Kenobi should have been like, we should have heard like the Death Star alarms going off and shit. Like, I still believe to this day that Kenobi is probably the worst thing that Disney Star Wars has ever done. It's fucking awful, bro. Like, it is so bad. We don't have to linger on it, though. Okay? We don't have to linger on it. We went through it. And of course, that was a weird experience going through that, you know, doing Nerd Theory, having all of these feelings, having all of these people say different things about me because I didn't feel like the Reva character was a good character. I felt like the show was completely incompetent, all of these different things. And the Star Wars fans, you know, they got their knives out, so to speak, right? And that's all really interesting. Now, in the middle of that, in the middle of all of that, the Warner Brothers news. David Zaslav, Diet Coke drinking David Zaslav, comes to Hollywood and is officially announced to be the CEO of the new Warner Brothers Discovery company that will be formed. Okay? A story that would later turn into James Gunn and Mom's Basement jokes and shit like that, right? But I remember at the time when Zaslav took over, I was actually optimistic because DC has been a big mess. DC has been a mess. And I thought, okay, well, maybe Zaslav will come in and he'll actually, you know, right the ship. He was saying a lot of interesting things right away, like we want to copy Marvel. We want this 10-year plan. We want to leverage the brand, all of these different things. And I remember being pretty optimistic and pretty high on Zaslav out the gate. And then, of course, like, we get into all these stories throughout the year where he's, like, literally axing Batgirl. Like, it's finished, he watched it, and he's like, yeah, we're never releasing this. You know what I mean? Killing all these different shows, doing all this crazy stuff. Like, Zaslav, man, he started hacking up the Warner Brothers stuff. It was pretty fucking bizarre. It was pretty crazy to witness, okay? So, it's like, at this sort of second beat in 2022, where we're going through Kenobi and Zaslav, and then a little show called Miss Marvel pops up for Marvel Studios. Now, Miss Marvel as a show is really interesting because it's actually a pretty good show. It's pretty competent. I like the cast, but it kind of just fizzles out It doesn't have the time or the budget needed to really give enough emphasis and cool stuff to it. And Miss Marvel ended up being the least viewed Marvel show ever. Like, really bad. You know what I mean? And I just remember, like, at that point in the year, because going into 2022 and going into the era of Disney Plus shows in general, I'd always had a lot of faith that Marvel in particular, but just all the people under Disney, we're going to put out really great shows. And we're going to elevate streaming and elevate what it was to be a fan of this big IP via these streaming shows. And at this point, after watching Moon Knight and then watching Miss Marvel, I was like, bro, what is happening here? And remember, we didn't do watch parties for Miss Marvel. I think some people got upset about it, but I was just like, nobody's really watching that shit. I don't really know what to do with that. Okay. Then we get in to the summer. Okay, the summertime. And I know Mike's saying Star Wars Celebration. I honestly I can't really say much about Star Wars Celebration because they didn't announce or release anything really publicly. It was all just for people there. So as cool as it was to like hear about some of that stuff, and then there was like a cool Mando trailer, none of that shit was released publicly. So I can't really I don't have any really memories or, you know, anything with regards to the Celebration. But what I do remember is going into the summer and still being pretty optimistic about what Thor: Love and Thunder could be. Oh yes, all the Ezra drama, of course. Yes, that's all happening early in the year, actually. Until they were like, we might not release this movie, and then Ezra and his managers were like, we're going to be good now, you know. But regardless of all that, so I remember getting into the summer, and I remember being still pretty optimistic about Love and Thunder. I mean, I like Taika Waititi. Ragnarok was dope. I don't hate the idea of Jane Foster Thor. And I still had this feeling, man. I still had this feeling that even though all new, all different Marvel was garbage, and even though none of that shit really hit, it was not successful for Marvel, I still had this idea that maybe Feige and the people within Marvel Studios could do a better job. Could give us Jane Foster Thor that was awesome, that we all rooted for and thought was incredible. And I just, man, Love and Thunder, bro. Love and Thunder is definitely my least favorite MCU movie. I have zero desire to watch that movie ever again. I remember we watched it twice in theaters, and the second time we watched it, I was able to enjoy it a little bit more because I just kind of like let it go or whatever, but I just kind of remember sitting there and being like, this is the last time I'll watch this movie. You know what I mean? It's fucking bad, dude. I despise that movie, and I hate it. And so we kind of missed all the Multiverse of Madness hype, but, you know, I touched on that earlier. Multiverse of Madness for me was fucking incredible. I loved it. It was great. So we start out with like Boba, Multiverse of Madness, then we did Moon Knight, Miss Marvel, Zaslav, Kenobi. Then we're in the summer, and we get to Love and Thunder. And again, I just thought it was buttholes. Like, horrible. But all of this sort of like lull, like kind of mediocre vibes coming from Marvel Studios, which I would argue again was created by even Multiverse of Madness to a degree because it's a divisive film. Then you have two pretty lackluster shows in my opinion in Moon Knight and Miss Marvel. Then you have fucking Love and Thunder. And I think at this point, it's when Feige and Marvel Studios realized they needed to shift and adjust, and they had to take some of this criticism seriously. And one of the biggest criticisms was like, there's no direction. This is pointless. None of this matters. Where are we going? Okay. That leads to one of the coolest streams I've ever done and one of the most fun experiences I've ever had. And that was covering San Diego Comic-Con in that same month of Love and Thunder, late July. And that shit was unbelievable. I had such a good time on that stream, and then when the actual Secret Wars announcement came out, to actually have it out there, to not have to like fucking try to convince anybody anymore, and to understand fully that that's what it was, and Marvel did that specifically because they knew people were starting to lose a little bit of faith, and they wanted to remind everybody about the North Star and how hype shit was going to get. It was incredible. And I have a lot of just fondness for that time, that stream, and being excited about Secret Wars. It's great. It's freaking awesome. Okay? But then, from there, we get into the She-Hulk Andor era. Now, I'm pretty sure She-Hulk came out first, right? Pretty sure. And wow, She-Hulk. Wow. Oh, man. You thought Love and Thunder shook your confidence in Marvel Studios to the core. Well, just wait until you watch the newest Disney Plus show, She-Hulk. Low-hanging fruit ammunition for all detractors of the Marvel Universe. Here you go. On a silver platter, it is She-Hulk. Wow. And I remember the first episode going easy on the show. I actually had a similar trajectory on this show that Angry Joe had. Where Angry Joe, after that first episode where she does the like feminist like rant thing, and I remember like myself and Angry Joe and some of these other people were like, yeah, it was okay episode. We'll see where it goes. They weren't ready to just condemn the fucking show because of the feminist rant. I wasn't ready to condemn the show because of the feminist rant. And because of that, people freaked out. And there were a lot of people that saw that first episode and were immediately like, fuck that, I'm out completely, whatever, it's horrible. I hung around for a couple more mediocre episodes before I literally said, I cannot do watch parties for this show anymore. We'll cover it as things happen, right? And at this point, as a Marvel fan, the best thing that had happened all year was Multiverse of Madness and talking about Secret Wars, and a lot of the Marvel shit just felt like filler, and I was really fucking irritated. So I just like checked out of She-Hulk completely. Then we get to Andor, or as I should call it, Anbor. I watched the first 3 episodes of Andor, and I was so fucking bored out of my mind, and I didn't feel like it was Star Wars at all. I was like, this is ridiculous. And so at that time, especially because I had already been super exhausted and sort of fatigued on Marvel throughout the year, I was like, nah, I'm done with this show too. I was like, I'm not just done with She-Hulk. I'm done with Andor. I'm done with watch parties. I'm done with all this shit. Fuck that! And of course, we know how that ended up going on social media. A lot of people really upset about it. The same type of people that are still trying to post on Reddit talking about how Andor was brilliant. And even the fucking Redditors are starting to get sick of it where they're like, oh shit, here we go again. Another Andor's peak Star Wars post. Nobody gives a shit. The 500 of you that watched it, nobody cares. So Andor, really crazy situation. Wild. And literally the Star Wars fandom had to sort of rear its toxic positivity head so much that motherfuckers by the end of that show started saying that I was right. Not necessarily about the show, but about the fandom and about just in general, the way that Star Wars is talked about. The discourse is ridiculous. That show, that whole experience, which lasted for 3 fucking months, was just, to me, painful. I was like, oh my God. So that era, whack as fuck. But in the middle of Andor, we got another real crazy story. And that was that James Gunn, not The Rock, but James Gunn, was going to be the president of DC. And I remember we did an emergency stream. I was actually pretty excited about it. I remember saying, dude, James Gunn, he's a super big comic book sweaty. I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of his actual films. You know, he's just a little too goofy for me. But he definitely knows comics. I think this could work. And I was very excited for the possibilities with James Gunn. I still kind of am, by the way. And I remember that shit happening during Andor and just being like, wow, this is really fucking crazy. And we talked about it. I remember Theory messaging me about it. and saying, is this a W or not, when he was announced. And I said, it's too early to tell. We have no idea what he's going to do. We'll see. Also, during Andor, hot motherfucking D. One of the coolest surprises of 2022, something that I didn't think could ever happen, House of the Dragon. So good that it saves the brand. So good. One of the biggest shows ever. Absolutely incredible. And as a big fan of the early seasons of Game of Thrones, just an unbelievable experience, man. Phenomenal show. Just it's so good on so many different levels, and I'm so excited to see with what they do with the next season, which probably won't drop till 2024 maybe at this point. But oh man, so fucking cool. House of the Dragon, just unbelievable. Has me so excited, not just for the next season, but for whatever they do next. The Jon Snow show, if there's even more spin-offs, whatever. I'm so excited. A lovely, incredible surprise. Incredible surprise, okay? Now, then, we had a couple of different crazy things happen, and this is all recent memory, but I still want to go over it. We had a late in the game series of dubs for Marvel. And it's so funny because it's not even a dub in the sense of exposure or numbers, because even the Halloween special, I'm talking about the special presentations, the Werewolf by Night special was not viewed a lot. Okay, and I think according to like Nielsen charts and all these different things, it didn't even perform that well. But from a just critical perspective, or the perspective of a fan, I just remember being like, dude, this is so fucking cool, and it's so much better than a lot of these shit-ass shows that they try to make us watch. And I really, really liked Werewolf by Night. Had a lot of fun with it. We did a fun watch party for it. And then the Guardians special is phenomenal as well. That Christmas special was awesome. And, then we start hearing all these things about how we might get more of those. Feige's doing all of these changes. Things I've been talking about for the last 3 or 4 months. Like, they're changing a lot of stuff in the future. That had me really optimistic as well. But in the middle of all of that, Disney fires Bob Chapek on a Sunday and brings Bob Iger back. So if you had any question, if like Disney was doing chill, how are they performing in the post-pandy world and all these different things, for the CEO to be ousted on a Sunday and bring back Bob Iger again on a Sunday? What a fucking incredible, crazy story. And I don't think many people are, like, it's weird because that story, for whatever reason, it seems to just happened and then people just accept it. That story is insane, dude. Like, that is so crazy. That is definitely a sign of, like, things are not going well for Disney. But ever since Iger was brought back, there has been a bump in the stock price and people seem to be more optimistic. I don't even know if that's deserved, but that seems to be the narrative when it comes to that. So what you have going on now is like Bob Iger back, Disney taking a hard look at all of the different studios. This includes Lucasfilm, this includes Marvel, maybe making some changes moving forward, thinking about a lot of different things, a lot of changes. You have Zaslav, you've got James Gunn, and of course, we've got the whole situation of the reboot, the soft reboot, Mom's Basement jokes, him in the fan base, and, that is kind of yet to be determined on how all of that will play out. I'm actually not, like, they can do it, and I think that Gunn could do it, and hopefully in January we get some clarification on some of that stuff, because it is possible, and at the end of the day, I would love to root for Warner Brothers. I'd love to, well, maybe not Warner Brothers, fuck that company, but I'd love to root for DC. I love the DC heroes. I love DC. And I would love for DC to actually get their shit together and to create this cohesive universe moving forward. It would be really, really cool. So we sort of end in a place where I think you've got, and look, you got Wakanda Forever. I don't know how you guys feel about Wakanda Forever. To me, Wakanda Forever was good, but it didn't like blow my hair back. It didn't make me think like, oh, all of the problems of Marvel are done. It didn't really give me confidence in like what's moving forward. I felt like Wakanda Forever was a very serviceable sequel But I just have sort of weird feelings about it. I can't sit here and tell you, like, dude, we close out the year strong as fuck with Wakanda Forever. I can't say that personally. But it was good. It was serviceable. So, in my opinion, you've got Star Wars doing 2 pretty bad shows, and then Andor, which you could argue is a really good show. I didn't like it, but you could argue it's a good show, and it's way more competent than Book of Boba and Kenobi. But you also can't deny that barely anybody watched Andor. It did really, really bad numbers, and even its 50% increase after the finale, you know, is still just puts it way below any other Star Wars content. So I would argue Star Wars had a pretty fucking bad year, and I think Kenobi may have really damaged the brand. I think the fan base itself is so rabid and toxic, and the fucking Star Wars account itself getting on Twitter and trying to like get into the mix, it's like, that's not a good idea, especially if you're going to do it that way. Star Wars ends low, but it also ends low with a fucking phenomenal 2023 lineup. So Star Wars ends in a bad note, but I'm more optimistic about Star Wars in 2023 than I am about Marvel. Real talk. So Star Wars ends the year in a really bad spot, but there's a lot of stuff to be excited about. Fucking Bad Batch Season 2 is next week, dude. You know what I mean? Marvel had, I would argue, a really bad year, but also is like probably still the most successful studio. If you just look at raw numbers, exposure, and all these different things, like they're still kind of doing the best as compared to DC and Star Wars, but I think they had a really bad year. However, I think that there's a lot of things to be optimistic about with Marvel next year. Quantum Mania has to pop. It's got to be really, really good. Guardians 3 has to be really good, which I think it will. The Marvels is a huge question mark for me. And then the shows, where I'm kind of confused about the shows, like Loki Season 2. If they drop the ball on Loki Season 2, if Loki Season 2 is a big bait and switch, it doesn't have much to do with Kang, fucking huge L. That'll be horrible. Secret Invasion seems awesome, but it's gotta be that mature content. It's gotta take itself seriously, and I think we'd be excited for that. You've got X-Men 97. You've got other shows, you know, Echo maybe at the end of the year. You've got some other good stuff happening for Marvel, but Marvel's in a really weird spot where it's a Titanic, and it takes time to turn the Titanic. So even though Feige and other people are aware of the problems and they're trying to fix stuff, it's really not going to be until 2024 that we get like solidly recoursed Titanic change direction Marvel, right? However, the worst out of all of them is DC. Because DC not only had a shit-ass, horrible fucking year, fan base is on fire, looks like a fucking war zone, right? You've got get rid of Saffron and Gunn trending every single day, right? You've got Gunn coming out trying to control the narrative in such a way that like he's going to end up debunking himself. He's going to retweet himself with the word false by the end of his run as president. I'm telling you right now. So you've got that collapsing, but on top of that, the worst possible thing for DC is that they have a whole slate of movies coming out next year that don't matter at all, dude. Great strat. Brilliant move. To like not only leave 2022 on fire, but go into the next year with the cachet for your films completely gone, all of the hype removed. Like they just like have to prove that they're worse than Star Wars. It feels like a race to the bottom between Lucasfilm and Warner Brothers. It is hilariously bad. Hilariously bad. And then just because I saw somebody in chat bring it up, Morbius, the movie that flopped twice, definitely got to talk about that. But I don't know. I still somehow feel like Morbius flopping twice is not as bad for Sony as what Kenobi was for Star Wars. Maybe I'm just a little biased because I fucking hated that show. But I think Sony's going to Sony. And Sony's best hope is like just grabbing onto those coattails of Feige and never letting go. That's what they got to do. So, okay. There you have it. There you have it. My review. A look back. A look back at 2022. Now, is there anything else that I missed? Anything else that I should comment on before we get into the Q&A? What do you think? You're down 50K? The Halo series, I didn't watch a single episode of the Halo series. The Boys was great. Thoughts on keeping Ezra Miller? I mean, dude, at this point, Ezra Miller, like, I don't know, man. I just, like, what else could you say about Ezra Miller? Literally treats the world like GTA 5. And somehow, like, I don't know the dirt that this dude has on people, but it's got to be a lot. Because you've literally got Henry Cavill, right? Absolute sweetheart, coming out and saying shit like, you know, I think when you're Superman, you have a responsibility not only when you're in the role, but when you're not in the role. You have a responsibility to live your life in a certain way that upholds the values of Superman. Superman is such a big deal that when you sign up to be Superman, it's not just what you do in front of the cameras. It's what you do everywhere. And then you've got Ezra literally hucking chairs at ladies, cutting open their heads, fucking 2-inch gashes. And that's like literally one of the least horrible things that Ezra did. Crazy. Crazy. What about Andrew Tate news? I mean, look, I think the Tate thing is like so overplayed, man. Like on both sides. Like if you hate, like the hate boner for Tate and like all these people that are like celebrating what happened yesterday as like this huge cultural dub or whatever, I think the whole thing's silly. I also think that it's super sad that so many people think of this guy as like an internet dad. I think the whole Tate thing is just crazy. And I just don't, I'm over it. To be honest with you, I'm fucking over it. Like, I don't need an internet dad. I also don't think he's worse than Ezra Miller! He's literally not as bad as a dude who's gonna star in a $200 million movie next. I'm fucking over it. I'm fucking over it. Getting in a tweet fight with a 19-year-old activist is not the same thing as kidnapping children and hucking chairs at people. This whole culture's got their whole fucking moral compass all fucked up. So no thanks. No fucking thanks. When it comes to Tate. Holy shit. Yeah, see, and look at this. Despite that, there's all these people that are still... Look at the hate boner for him, man. Look at all these people still fired up. Like, you guys are crazy. Like, literally, some of you guys are still... I was like, what are you talking about? He is worse than Ezra. Look what he was arrested for and all that shit. Guys, just put a pin in it. I think you're fucking crazy. Obviously, if there's truth to the allegations against him, yeah, he's not a good dude. But I don't know that. You don't know that. When it comes to Ezra, it's right out in the open. We know. At least some of it, we know. Jesus Christ. I'm dismissing it too much. What are you... Guys, I don't want to talk about Tate. I'll leave the stream right now. I'll see you next year. I don't want to talk about Tate. Full stop. I will leave the stream right now. I'm leaning towards doing it, actually. All right, everybody. I'll see you in 2023. Thanks for the stream. Much love. See you later. All right. Okay, all right. Everybody calm down. But that's serious. I don't want to talk about that shit. You're wrong. You're wrong. Okay, let's get into the soupy chats, member chats. We'll hang in the chat a little bit, and then we're going to call it a dizzy. Okay. First in today, and I did miss another one. Somebody was talking about Chippendales, the movie. Yeah, it's good. I like that movie. Jedi Mike, member for 18 months, says, hashtag grateful for another trip around the sun with y'all. Happy 2023 to all Avengers. Appreciate you, brother. Devin says, member for 13 months, Nerd Vengers stream on my B-Day. Thank you, Josh, for all that you do, Nerd Vengers for life. I appreciate it, man. And happy birthday to you. Showcase Saber says, finally a member. Excited for 2023. Much love. Thank you, Showcase. Appreciate it. XA says, what Marvel character are you most excited to see, either new or returning in movies and in Snap? Ooh, that's an interesting one. I can't really think of who I'd want to see in Snap. I'm super curious as to how they design a lot of my favorite comic book characters, though. The design team for Snap is really on point, so I'm excited to check that out. As far as for Marvel, I'm really excited about the mutants, man. I mean, that's kind of where a lot of my focus is at, is like the mutants, Doctor Doom, Magneto, stuff like that. So thanks for the love. Dandrel says, what are your thoughts on Titans? What do you mean? What do you mean by that? Titans? Are you talking about like in Warhammer? Or in Greek mythology? I don't know. I don't really have thoughts on Titans. Or are you talking about the football team? Peyton Ball with a $10 holla says, became a Nerd Venture this year. Absolutely love the live streams and vid. Much love, broski, and a happy new year. Thank you, Peyton. I appreciate the love. Thank you very much. Anthony Carter, remember 17 months, says, like rock music, check out Majin Mood and run it up for me. Majin Mood. Okay. All right. Okay. I'll check that out. I'm in a Majin Mood about Andrew Tate. Guys just can't let that shit go. Parker Gonzo says, funniest moment this year was the chat from Nerd Theory with the Mandango profile pic. Theory didn't see it for 2 minutes while you were just cracking up. That was an incredible moment. All-time great. All-time great moment. Oh man. Even watching it brings a lot of joy to me. Jonathan says, love you, Josh. Can't wait to hit 12 months. Well, I appreciate the support, man. Much love right back. Darth Kev says, can I be the last mod of 2022 / first mod of 2023? I'm not going to give out any mods today, but maybe. We'll see later. Evan says, hey, bro, I'll watch on the replay. Blinker it up. Oh, man, much appreciation. Appreciate that. Ethan follows up and says, well, no, it's a different Ethan. Says, happy 5 months and happy new year. Thank you for all the time, energy, and emotions you put into your content this year. I appreciate you more than you know, Papa Josh. Well, thank you so much, man. Ethan, I appreciate that love. That's pretty chill. Just Fernie with a 5 spot says, shout out Book of Boba Fett. Those were the first vids I edited on the channel. Thanks to you and the Nerd Vengers for the job at the tower. What a year. What a year indeed, man. What a year indeed. And you did some incredible edits for the Book of Boba Fett. I really did think they were awesome, man. So I appreciate it. XA says, wow, you're making me relive the catastrophe that was 2023, and it's worse than I actually realized. You mean 2022. 2023 might be all right. Absist Bin Seenan says, what shirt you wear with stand move the mic? This is a Gohan shirt. It's a Gohan shirt, and that's the best I can do for you, man. Low Lives. What's HNY? What's that mean? What do you think the disconnect between the quality of Netflix Marvel and Disney Marvel is? Daredevil, Punisher versus She-Hulk, Miss Marvel. Well, I think, when it comes to the Disney Plus shows from Marvel specifically, I think that you had a movie studio that wanted to do television and didn't quite know how to make incredible streaming content that didn't just overtake the quality of the movies. Like, I feel like Feige was in a pretty precarious spot as far as trying to figure out how to make that content while also not devaluing the theatrical experience. And so I think that's probably what it was. Like, if you look at, because not all the Netflix shows are great. In fact, I would argue most of them aren't. Daredevil, first season of Punisher, first season of Jessica Jones, and that's it. Literally, like, I like some of the Luke Cage stuff, but it's not good. You know, the second season of Punisher was, like, I thought horrible. And a lot of the stuff, like even the Defenders show, it's really not that great, dude. So I think there's a little bit of a bias there where people just remember all that stuff very, very positively, which it's not all positive. But also, like, they had a format, and especially the showrunner for Daredevil season 1, which I think was Steve Knight, right? Stephen McKnight or D Knight or whatever. Just a great creative mind for how to do storytelling on that kind of a format. We'll see how Marvel can treat Born Again. You know what I mean? Like, it's possible that they will be able to do Born Again and have a lot of that same energy and have a lot of that same quality. Like, we shall see. H. Chris, the 14 months, says, and snore, not Andor. Amen. Sayin Black says, favorite rapper. Probably, like, my favorite rapper is probably Lupe Fiasco, but a lot of that has to do with him outside of rapping. I think he's a genius. I think he's like just like a honest, incredibly knowledgeable being, and I really respect the hell out of him. I like J. Cole a lot as well. Logic I like a lot as well. So yeah. Vora says, hope you and the fam have a good Xmas, mate. She-Hulk was so bad, so why didn't Feige realize how bad it was and step in to sort it, in your opinion? So I think the truth of this, and this is just my opinion, but this is how I view it. And I actually think it's a huge problem in Hollywood and just in general. I think Feige didn't want the narrative to be that he, powerful white man, came in and diminished the creative vision or the creative capacity of Jessica Gao, of Chloe Zhao. And I think that the fear of that narrative prevented him from doing what he should have done as the greatest producer of all time, and that is stepped in and made a better product. And I hope that that changes. You know what I mean? But again, that's just my vantage point on it. I don't really know why. It's also possible, like, outside of politics and narrative, that maybe Feige, because he was stretched so thin, just from a production perspective, was not able to just have even the time or the energy to really make sure that all that shit was taken care of. I will say this, I don't envy Feige, especially over the last couple of years. I think the Pandy and Sony and a lot of other things just totally decimated what was otherwise a very clear track that he could have been on. So, yeah, that's kind of what I said. Grant says, Common Josh W. Andor bad. Love you, bro. Hey, thanks, Grant. I appreciate it, man. Leon says, it's like Lucasfilm is okay with the fan base being divided. Sigh. I need Ahsoka to be good, man, or I may lose all my faith. Yeah, same. And honestly, the Ahsoka video that I'm about to put out, that'll be your shit, Leon. Like, you watch that, dude. It's like, it'll be like getting in to like a conversation at the comic book shop where we just get fucking hyped as hell for Ahsoka, because honestly, even if everything else falls apart, as long as Dave's still doing his thing over there, seems like Filoni verse is going to be absolutely solid. So I'm excited. Mr. JB says, you forgot about Morbius and your tweet, Andrew G. Yeah, the tweet was obviously a pretty crazy situation with Gunn and everything. And Morbius, the movie that bombed twice in theaters. I say bring it back again, you know? I say bring it back again. Mariana says, best Star Wars 2022 moment. Ewan and Hayden came back. Excited for 2023. Mando Season 3 in Ahsoka. Let's go. Happy New Year's to you, Josh. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for the love. Jive and Jimmy, welcome back to the Nerd Adventures. Elijah says, just FYI, I'm making you some intro stuff. I'll hit you up when it's ready for you to review. Oh, that's very generous, man. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. John Cross with a 10 spot says, my hype for Star Wars was crushed this year. So while I love the upcoming slate, my expectations are low. Hopefully I'm surprised. What's your most anticipated project from Marvel, DC, Star Wars next year? It's Ahsoka. 100%. Ahsoka is more hyped up than anything Marvel's doing, anything else Star Wars is doing, anything DC's doing. Ahsoka. 100%. I gotta sneeze. Hang on. Cyber Coastal says Stranger Things was a big moment. Yeah, Stranger Things was awesome as well. That was pretty wild, but like I expect quality from Stranger Things. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't like don't get me wrong. It was mind-blowing. It was pretty crazy how good it actually was. But it didn't like shock me. I kind of expect that from Stranger Things, you know what I mean? Kanoze says big year for anime with Bleach, Chainsaw Man, Blue Lock, etc. That's true. Anime had a huge year. And I'm super excited to hopefully launch my anime channel next year and be really excited about just all the cool animes because there is a lot of cool stuff happening. Mariana says, if you got to mention, Hayden won a Saturn Award. Totally deserved it. The love he got this year. That's a hard one for me. You know what? It's a hard one for me. Because of course I'm excited that Hayden is back. I'm more excited that Dave, somebody that actually is competent, is going to use Hayden properly in Ahsoka. But like, I didn't love Hayden in Kenobi. I didn't love the way he was utilized. I didn't love the performance. I just didn't like Kenobi. Like, I hate that show. So it's a tough one for me to be like, yeah, he won a Saturn Award, and I'm really excited for him. It's like, I hear what you're saying, and I'm glad that he's back, but I'm way more looking forward to like what he does with Dave's stuff, in my opinion. Caleb says, Kai Patterson cut of Kenobi really changed my view on the entire series. It made all the memories of Kenobi good ones, but Riva, bruh. Yeah, the Kai cut was incredible, and a lot of love to that guy for putting that together, because it's way better. But ultimately, like, it's not like I can forget that Disney gave us this, turd, basically. Steve McT says, do you think there will be 2 Kangs in Quantum Mania? Talk Kang to me. No. I think there'll be one Kang. One Kang to rule them all. One Kang to find them. One Kang to bring them all. And in the darkness, bind them. Geologist B says, Happy New Year, everyone. Next year is our year. Yes, next year's going to be super hyped up, man. Next year's going to be fun. Daniel Fisher says, here's to 2023. Hoping the best for all the Nerd Avenger community. Cheers, all. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Julian, what a year of nerdy content, and what a year ahead of us we have with everything coming out next year. Happy Friday to all, and hope all are safe this New Year's Eve weekend. Much love. Yeah, you guys got to be safe out there, man. I don't want to hear nothing about no accidents, nothing. So you just got to be safe. Vito with a 5 spot says, Stranger Things Season 4 was fire, and Tales of the Jedi was also fire, but I'm really excited for more Invincible. That's true. That's true. That's fair, man. Invincible should be hyped as hell. Can't wait for Season 2 of that. There's going to be a lot of cool sort of little surprises next year, too. Some good video games, etc. Titans on HBO, dude. Nightwing. Brother Blood. Very adult content. Oh, yeah. I've never seen it. One of my really good buddies, always speaks really highly of Titans. Never seen it, man. So we'll see. And it's probably going to go away either way, so. Kendo says, yo, Happy New Year, bro. Looking forward to kicking it for another year. Much love. By the way, B-Day shout out to my daughter. She's 5 tomorrow. MCU to the moon 2023. Hold on to Kevin Golden Tits. Kang Gang. Oh, hell yeah, man. And happy birthday to your daughter. 5. Wow. I bet those 5 years flew by, too. I think about that sometimes, man, just because time's already flying with, like, Liam, and I just... Before you know it, he's going to be like teaching me stuff. It's going to be really, really interesting. So, much love. C-Dub, 30 months of nerd venging? Never a dull moment. Thanks for all the great streams this year. Can't wait to see what happens next year. Cheers to you and your fam. I appreciate it, C-Dub. I really do. Thank you. John Cross with the 10 spot says, what I loved about Netflix Marvel was getting snacks, staying up late, and binging. It was so much fun, and wish they did that with the Disney Plus shows. I think their shows would get better reviews as a binge versus weekly. It is really interesting because I think in this sort of new streaming era, do you remember when we were going into this year and even going into last year a little bit, people were saying stuff like, well, Netflix's binge model, it doesn't help them out because after a couple of weeks, the hype is gone and you don't have any social media hype for it, right? But if you look at Nielsen, Netflix stuff dominates. And it dominates all these other shows for much longer. So I don't know. Maybe there is something to the binge model. I don't know. It's a weird time, and I think there's a lot of people trying to figure that out. But yeah, pretty interesting. I hear you, John Cross. Michael Smith says, hey, Josh, with the year that Star Wars was hack, if the new shows don't perform well, could that mean the end of Star Wars altogether? Is there hope? Yeah, there's hope, but I tell you, if these shows bomb, like if Mando 3 has a significant drop in viewership, I would full on hit the panic mode and I would fire Kathleen Kennedy immediately. I don't know if that they will do that, and I don't know that we'll see this drop off. We'll have to wait and see. But if that happens, it'll be super damaging. Also, they're trying to get this Lindelof movie out in 2025 now. And that just, I think that spells absolute disaster. You're going to do a sequel trilogy movie. You're going to try to force it out because you just started writing it. I just, oh man, that 2025 movie, they better come correct. They better come correct. That's all I'm going to say. Elijah, where should I send you the MP4s? You could WeTransfer them to me and use the email thedenofnerds@gmail.com. That should work, bro. The Exodus with the 5 spot says, been following the channel for 4 years since the 5 villains we need after Thanos vid. Happy New Year to the community. Hopefully 2023 brings it. Hey, I appreciate it, the Exodus. Much love to you, man. Jake says with the 10 spot, tinfoil cap on, was reading more Avengers Forever last night. What if Kang statues are imprisoned Kangs that the TVA Kang has beaten over the years? So much Kang! Yeah, I am also reading through Avengers Forever, and there's a lot of cool stuff in there that they could adapt in the MCU. And I think they might. I think they will. Maybe they already have. Should be cool, man. Appreciate the 10 spot. Justified, member for 21 months, says, Happy New Year's, you beautiful nerds. Josiah, welcome to the Nerd Avengers. You are a Nerd Avenger now. I'm really shocked no mention of Bleach on your list. Happy New Year to you and Elisa. Thank you for the awesome year for us Nerd Avengers. Thank you, Don. Yeah, I mean, Bleach was phenomenal. I just don't think it makes a big enough impact on at least this community. But yeah, I mean, as somebody that literally watched the first couple episodes of Bleach when they aired on Toonami and just being really excited about that, Bleach is kind of doing what Hot D did in some ways. And depending on the changes they make to the anime, because the end of the 1,000-Year Blood arc in the manga was lackluster. And so it looks like they're doing a lot of changes to the anime. And so it's possible that they will just full on, like, just bring Bleach back in its full glory, which would be great. But yeah, appreciate it, Don. Thank you. Stuart says, Crystal Ball time. A year from now, do you think Star Wars will be in a better spot? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Hard to imagine them in a worse spot, frankly. So, yeah, I think they'll be much better. And if they lean on Dave Filoni, then things will probably will be okay. If they lean, then it'll be great. Parker Thwips, member for 2 months, says, what/who would you like to see Marvel focus on if they did an animated universe separate of the MCU and Disney Plus on high-quality feature film releases? Who would see Marvel focus if they did an animated universe separate from DC? High-quality feature film releases. That's kind of an interesting concept. You know, honestly, and I want to see an Exiles team. I want to see an Exiles team and them going around the multiverse, getting into some really crazy stuff. Because I feel like as far as we have multiverse stuff going on, here's one of the things that I'm super disappointed so far in the multiverse saga. Why don't we have fucking awesome Elseworld versions of these characters? Like, part of the joy of the what if, the Elseworld, the multiverse variants is having dope versions of characters. Where are the dope versions of the characters? Like, you read any awesome multiverse story and you've got these crazy versions of in Avengers Forever. They come to a universe that's way in the future, and there's a old T'Challa there. And this old T'Challa is so hyped up to see Steve, to see some of the characters. But also, Cap is sort of shocked that T'Challa is just murdering people. They're in this big war with these Martians, and he's just murdering the fuck out of these people. And it's just really cool juxtaposition of like that version of T'Challa versus the one that Steve knows. And there's like, it's fun. Where is any of that in Marvel? So I would do an Exile show, and I would travel around and do all these crazy what-if versions of the Marvel characters. That's what I would do. And also, Parker Thwips, I got your email, and your work is really impressive, and I do want to work with you. It's just like things are crazy right now. We'll link up after the holidays. MK Matt says, yo, Happy New Year. Oh, that's what that means. Okay. Love y'all. I missed your list, but man, 2023 has some hype coming. On top of everything else, I just realized Dune 2 is coming out. That's true. Dune 2. Should be fun. Appreciate the support, brother. John Cross says, can we do a Saturday morning cartoon stream sometime and watch the 2D Clone Wars? Yeah. I mean, we've already done that, but we could do it again. I don't think we watch all of the Tarkovsky stuff. But, yeah. We'll do that again. I'm not going to do anything this weekend, but next weekend maybe we'll do Saturday morning cartoons. Talented Mr. Griffin says, what are your thoughts on FEIGE using parts of Judgment Day for Eternals 2? I don't think I've ever seen Marvel use such a new toy as an adaptation. Yeah, I've got a lot of thoughts on that, actually. I wonder why, but I also think, like, there's room to do Judgment Day in a way that I think would really be cool for mainstream Marvel audiences. The idea of the mutants, especially on a cosmic scale, being these like kind of like god beings that are a mistake in the eyes of the Celestials or the Eternals is really interesting. And there's this idea of like the White Room and the Phoenix and cosmic level shit that could be really cool. You know, you've got characters like Franklin Richards, Jamie Braddock. You've got reality warping mutants. That feels like a Celestial thing. So I think there's room there to do a very interesting version of that and even weave in Avengers versus X-Men into that. So we'll just wait and see. But it is kind of curious that they're using the new stuff. But again, it's weird that Endgame and Infinity War uses like Obsidian Call and Black Dwarf and some from the Black Order. That shit literally was invented in like 2016 by Hickman. So Feige is not against using newer stuff, but it is kind of curious that he would like go with that. But yeah, Moosh, member for 21 months, says, Happy New Year, Nerd Fangers. Hey, I appreciate it, man. Thanks for the love. Vandolph the Black says, Marvel needs to get into the animation game like DC. Why haven't they made comic adaptations there? We got What If. What's next after X-Men? Well, there's that Spider-Man freshman year, and we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I agree. Like they should be crushing it in animation. There's no reason not to. But I would do like fucking Exiles. I mean, for God's sakes, the What If show is almost the Exiles. It's like this close to the Exiles. Oh yeah, and you've got Marvel Zombies as well. So yeah, there's some cool stuff that I think they're going to be doing. But yeah, they've really underutilized the animation. Colin McGoldrick says, Josh, thoughts on Avatar Way of Water, and what would you say is your top movie-going experience of the year? Hope you and the fam have a good new year. I would say Multiverse of Madness is my favorite movie-going experience of the year. Absolutely love that film. Seeing it in the theater was phenomenal. Top Gun Maverick is really, really cool. I had a great time with that as well. Way of Water is cool, man. I think Way of Water is just a little overhyped. Like, it's really good. I hope the movie goes on to make a bunch of money because I really want to see the third one. I'd love to even see the fourth and the fifth one. But Avatar Way of Water is not, I don't know. Like, everybody was so hyped on it going into it. I don't think that's what it is. It doesn't change cinema. It doesn't bring 3D back. It doesn't give a clear roadmap for what Marvel and Star Wars should do to amp up the movie-going experience. I don't see any of that. You know what I mean? I see just like a really serviceable sequel that probably should have come out like 7 years ago. That's what I see when I see The Way of Water. But yeah, that's where I'm at with it. All right, guys. So I'm going to hang in chat for a little bit. I'm not going to do call-ins, though, because everybody pissed me off about Andrew Tate, so I'm not going to do call-ins. But I still love you guys. It's okay that we don't see eye to eye on everything. So let's just hang out and chat for like 5 to 10 minutes, and then let's call it. You completely skipped the Batman. Did that come out this year? Did the Batman come out this year? Oh, Game Over Jesse. That's very kind. Thank you so much. I was going to call with some heat. Uh-oh. Well, can you put the heat into the chat? How do I feel about Daredevil and She-Hulk? If they're both consenting, then it seems fine. Has anyone seen the making of She-Hulk? I'm mixed on it. It's like they actually had good stuff, but it's like something changed. Some cut lines had me going, how did that make it to set? Yeah, for sure. Daredevil didn't consent? Oh my god. That's crazy. Tales of the Jedi was fire. Torque it till you make it. That's a good strategy for TikTok, I guess. Just want to say Happy New Year, everyone. Can't wait for next year. Thanks, Purple Funk. Appreciate you. DD is a victim. Oh, yeah? That's too bad. Golden Onion was the best movie of the year? Are you talking about... what the fuck's Gold Onion? Are you talking about Glass Onion? Yeah. Josh, stop being so woke and take off your pants. Oh, okay, totally. I'm on it. Lost again. Rigged! Nah. I need Hayden to deliver another line in Ahsoka to break my soul. The I'm not your failure Obi-Wan line fucked me up. Yeah, that line was incredible. Probably the best part of the show. And a great performance by him. Man, they should have gave him a Saturn Award or something, you know? Golden tits stuck in your head? Amen. Yeah, Glass Onion was awesome, dude. I don't get these people that are so butthurt about Glass Onion. It's like everything now has to fall in like camps, lines, biasy, and all this stuff. Like, bro, it's just a good movie. Like, I don't like what the fuck, man. Like, people literally can't enjoy Glass Onion because there's certain jokes, certain points trying to be made. It's like, holy shit, bro. It's a good movie. Will you marry me? We shall have Motley Crue play at our wedding. No, I'm taken, but Motley Crue's pretty good. Dr. Feelgood, great song, man. Ooh, I remember many's a times I was feeling good listening to Dr. Feelgood. Yeah. Why can't people stop thinking people are important? No one matters. Ah, Smokey, there you go. Okay, wait. What'd you say here, bro? Oh, yeah, Black Adam. We forgot the hierarchy of DC power. It all changed, yeah. What cosmic character or arc would you like to see the MCU expand? I mean, Silver Surfer, Galactus, Nova, that's all really interesting stuff. I think the Shi'ar Empire, and maybe even like the X-Men and the Shi'ar, that's kind of a cool idea. You know, Gladiator's cool, Lilandra, Vulcan. Like, the Shi'ar are kind of fucking dope, bro. Oh, okay. We got some comments on the tweeters. Let's see. Oh, okay. So they're saying it might look a little more comic-y. Okay, that's great. Because those leaked concept arts look like butthole. While that leaked Ironheart concept is fake, it is true that at early stages Mephisto looked closer to Lobo. I'm not sure what the final version. Okay, well, that's cool. That's chill. That's chill. That's better. That's better. Good. Good. Anyone watch Chainsaw Man? Of course, dude. Chainsaw Man's incredible. What Marvel projects are you most hyped for in 2023? Secret Invasion, X-Men 97, Guardians 3, and Quantumania. That's probably the list for me. Those are the ones I'm most excited for. And honestly, X-Men 97 might be my most anticipated. Like, I'm more excited for X-Men 97 than I am probably any of the movies. Oh, Loki 2. But here's the problem, dude. Like, the leaks for Loki 2 have me kind of bummed. Loki 2 was so high on my list, and now I'm like, I don't know about that shit. What if Season 2 could be fire too? For sure. Will X-Men 97 actually matter, though? Hey, you don't say that, Carl. You don't say that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, X-Men 97 will matter because it's a continuation of one of the greatest animated shows ever made. Carl. Is it okay if I'm still excited for The Flash? I just want to see Keaton back as Batman. Same with Affleck. Dude, yeah, of course. The Flash movie might be incredible. And honestly, it better be. Because, like, you think about all the stuff with Ezra and you're like, they're still just keeping this dude. Well, that must be an incredible fucking movie. That must be a great film. You know? Matter like DC in 2023. You know, sir. Will you make a video about X-Men you want to see in the MCU? Absolutely, man. We'll do a lot of that stuff next year for sure. Or they don't want to lose more money. Fair, but they could lose that money and write it off. Like, they could just kill all of those movies and write them off or write them down on their taxes. And actually, I would love it, bro. I'd love it if they just killed everything that's supposed to come out in 2023. Kill it all. That's like $1 billion in write-offs. You know what I mean? Can you do more Snap Deck breakdown videos? Unfortunately not. That's just really not what we do on the channel. The algo wouldn't work or whatever, but I could always maybe talk a little bit on a stream here and there. And we'll do some more Snap streams next year, you know? Biggest question of Black Panther 2. How does Namor know he is a mutant? Does he know other mutants? No, I don't even think he knows the full scope of the mutation and what it really means. So, yeah. Is The Flash actually going to come out next year? I think it would be ironically be the best way to end the DCEU and start anew. True. Shout out to Phase 5 for getting me into comic books. You mean Phase 4? Because Phase 5 hasn't happened yet. Favorite comic of the year? Ooh, that's a good question. Favorite comic of the year. I gotta say, one of my favorite comics of the year was X-Men Red number 5 or 6 when Storm and Magneto combine their powers. Dude, this shit was ridiculous. Magneto gets a literal hole put into his chest. His heart is gone. And using his own powers, he's able to, like, use the iron in his blood to, like, keep himself alive with this massive hole in his chest. Then you learn that Storm and Magneto's powers, who are both Omega level mutants, they work together and she can give him, like, pretty much unlimited power. I'm not even sure how it works. But it was fucking awesome. So that's one of my favorite moments in comics from the year. That was great. Let me try to think what else happened. Oh, that Doctor Doom, the evil Doctor Doom from... What's that run? Oh, it's Avengers Forever. It's the new Avengers Forever. But that actually came out last year. I just read it this year or whatever. Yeah, that part was really, really cool. Loved it. Thought it was a Goku shirt? Nah, it's Gohan. Gohan. What anime universe could go toe-to-toe with Marvel's strongest? I mean, Dragon Ball, obviously. Probably a lot of anime, to be fair. But Dragon Ball for sure. Any plans to attend Comic-Cons next year? Absolutely. I will be there. I will be at some cons, and we'll hang out. We'll talk comics. I'll have some of my comics. Should be a good time. Dragon Ball sucks. You know what's that? I like that Dark Crisis. Dark Crisis was cool. The Death of the Justice League episode was sweet. Chicago cons? Oh, hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Love Chicago. Great food, man. What would be a good Marvel comic run to read in preparation for Secret Wars? Oh, well, the best one will be, and it's a lot, but you've got to read the 3 years of Jonathan Hickman, Avengers, New Avengers, and a little bit of Avengers World, all leading up to Secret Wars. Are you a Harry Potter fan? Yeah, I like Harry Potter. You check out the Fall Sunrise Doctor Strange? Psychedelic AF? I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. Harry Potter new movie confirmed. I mean, it appears they might reboot. I think that's a horrible idea. Do you put ketchup on hot dogs? I do. I do. Yeah, I think rebooting the Harry Potter movies is an incredibly poor decision. Like, what are they going to do? Get the best British actors again? Like, the Harry Potter movies are legendary in a lot of ways just because of all of the absolute incredible British talent that was used in those films. Yeah. Do you put cheese on your taco? Yes. Savage Avengers was fire. I did like that as well. No ketchup, only mustard. That sounds like no banner, only Hulk. You ready for the new season on Snap? Hell yeah, man. I'm excited. Josh, if they cancel Aquaman 2, could it hurt the cachet for Jason going for it as Lobo? Nah. Matt Smith as the new Snape? I mean, I guess. Corn or flour tortillas? Corn. I'd say corn. All right, everybody, we're going to get on out of here. I appreciate you guys. I really do. Okay? Sorry, I got a little upset earlier. It's just that I am so triggered by how triggered a lot of you are about Andrew Tate. I think it's pretty silly. But I guess it's also silly for me to get that triggered as well. So we'll just put it behind us and never talk about it again. Okay? So much love to you all. I appreciate you. Fun videos over the weekend. We'll be back at it on Monday. New year. Let's go. I'm excited. You're excited. Let's do it. As I always say, I hope you are having an awesome and a nerdy day. And I'll see you in the next video. Is everybody gone? Did everybody leave? Leave. Ah, man. You know, it's honestly pretty on brand to do the last stream with a little bit of rage and discontent. So, you know, I'm okay. Hope you're okay. You know, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. Much love. I can't believe the year went, though. It is crazy. I can't believe how fast this year went. Is this how it's just going to go now? Are all the years going to be crazy? And fast? Faster. Yeah, we'll see. Well, before we know it, we'll be talking about James Gunn's Superman. We'll see how that goes. Anyway, guys, much love. I really do appreciate all the support this year. I appreciate the community. I'll see some of you guys in about a half hour. And I'm probably going to have to delay the Prime stream a little bit. So it'll be probably like 45 minutes. I got to get some food in me. But I'll see you guys at 1. That'll be fun. And yeah, a couple videos over the weekend. And then we'll start fresh next year. Open up your third eye. Wash out your stinky butt. And I'll see you later.